All right, welcome to Online Anatomy and Physiology 12. I am Mr. Kuchma. I'm your teacher and guide throughout this course, and this course intro video is going to show you everything about the course, learning how to use Brightspace, how the lessons, assignments, and tests work. And if you've done a course with me already, if you've done Life Sciences 11, everything's going to look very familiar. If this is your first course, then welcome. I'm excited to have you in this course. It is probably the best course ever. When I was in high school, it used to be called Biology 12, and it was by far my favorite course that I ever took. So I'm very, very blessed to be able to be the teacher for it all these years later. So this is Brightspace. If you're watching this video, I'm hoping that you've logged in already, but if you haven't, when you log in, you should see my course and it should look something like this. There's a bunch of things that we're going to go over. I'm going to start with Brightspace itself. When you log in, hopefully, one of the first things that you see is me. And you are welcome to shoot me an email at any time in the course if you ever need help. And I also have office hours where you can book a time with me if you ever want to go over anything, study, nerd out about biology, all those things. That would be great. Right now, I'm viewing the course as a student. So when you log in and you look at the course for the very first time, you're only going to see the course intro and the first chapter on biological molecules. What your job is going to be is to watch this course intro video that I'm putting out, and then once you're done, in the course introduction at the bottom, there is a course intro quiz. You have to complete this course intro quiz, and then it will unlock the rest of the course. Okay, so I'm going to go back, and I'm not going to view as a student anymore. And I promise you, there are a lot of really cool chapters that I'm going to show you in a second. But even just navigating the course in Brightspace, I really recommend usually two things. Whenever you log in, always click the content button. This is the best way to view the course and see what's been completed. And you'll see that there's actually a lot of chapters in the course. Once you do that, there are 10 chapters in Anatomy and Physiology 12, starting with biological molecules and ending with health and lifestyle. The other thing that you're going to probably want to click on is grades. Now, grades is going to be a little bit different. I don't have the same view that you guys do, but when you guys look in, that is what you will see, and that's probably something that you'll want to access throughout the school year. The third thing that's really, really great, but you only have to do one time, is set up your pacing and progress tool in Brightspace. Every single person, while you're watching this video, you can pause it right now and you can go and do it, but you can go to the pacing and progress tool. It's going to ask you to start or begin, and it's going to set up the course and tell you, it kind of ask you, when do you want to finish this course? And so it'll automatically choose today as the start date if you are starting today. If you don't want to start today, if you're just watching this video today, that's fine. Choose the start date as whatever date you're actually going to be beginning the course. And then Brightspace just automatically puts 6 months in the future as the end date. But you can adjust that. Choose the end date that you want. If you're trying to finish this course, in a month or 2 months, you can just choose 2 months from now. If you're trying to finish this course in first semester, you could put it at the end of January. If you're trying to finish it before Christmas, put December 15th or something. If you're trying to do it in the summer, you can put it in the summer. If you're doing it in second semester from like February to June, you can put the end date as June. Whatever you are planning, make sure that the pacing and progress tool knows, and then it'll help you stay on track. So Brightspace has those three main functions: content, pacing and progress tool, and grades that you'll be using all the time. All right, so let's start with a course introduction. There is a ton of information here. Most of it I'm going to go over in this video. You start here and you read a bunch about the course. It's great. It's awesome. Once you are done that, you will go to the course intro video. Haha, I'm recording this right now, but this is my old one. And then there's some content about like how you actually complete the course, so how a chapter works. I'm going to talk you through this. There's policies and procedures. I can quickly touch on this right now. Because we're an online school, we really heavily rely on honesty from students and your academic integrity. So when you're going through the course, there's only one place that I allow you to use, Google or AI or anything like that, and that's when you're doing the lessons. I'll talk about that more later. But when you're doing the assignments, when you're doing the tests, when you're doing the activities in the course, I don't want it used at all. I want everything to be your own work, and that goes for plagiarism too. If you're copying something, you have to make sure that you use your citations. And because academic integrity is so important, it is a 3-strike system. So if I suspect you're using something and I use AI checkers, I compare things with Google, I do lots of different things to check students' work. If they're suspected cheating, the first time you're just going to get 0 on that question, and that's strike 1. But if it happens again and I notice something's just not quite right a second time, you get 0 on that entire submission. So 0 on that test, on that assignment, on something, on the activity. And the third time, if you haven't learned from the strike 1 and strike 2, you're removed from the course and you fail. So that's just a reminder that, honesty is the best policy. If you don't know something, you can try to guess, but you don't go out and Google it. So once you've kind of watched this course intro video, there is a course intro quiz. You come here and you complete it. So the rest of the time, I want to talk about the actual course content. Now, to get activated and start the course, there's a couple lessons here on water. They all teach the exact same thing, but they're just different teachers. So this one is Mr. Anderson. This one is the Amoeba Sisters, and I think this is the second one by Mr. Anderson. It's just a different one about water. So the very first thing that you'll do to get activated is you'll complete this quick and short H2O assignment. But that's just for chapter 1 to get activated. How chapters normally work, how all the other ones will work, is that there's notes, there's an assignment, and then there's a test. So if you take a look, I do have my notes here called Biological Molecules Notes, and we're going to go over how lessons work. That's how everything is built upon. Everything is built upon lessons, and then once the lessons are completed, then you complete an assignment, and there'll be a test afterwards. So I'll scroll through chapter 1 just so you can kind of see it. It goes all the way up to lesson 7. Well, actually lesson 8, because lesson 8 is just a dad joke. Lesson's still buffering, but it's lesson 8 on buffers, systems. And you can tell, I've got 5 kids. The dad jokes are going to be throughout the course. Anyway, there's a handed box for your notes, and then there's an assignment afterwards that you complete, and then there's a chapter test. Now, if you are on Brightspace, you can be on Brightspace navigating the course with me while I'm doing this course intro video with you. What you will notice is that if you go to the end of the chapter, you won't see the test. The test is actually hidden. The test is only visible if you've actually completed the assignment and it's been marked. So if you go throughout the course right now, you'll be like, Mr. Kuchma, there's no tests. This is the best course ever. But there actually is tests. They're just all hidden right now. And you can't go and complete them until the assignment has been marked. So let's start from the beginning of this chapter, and I'm going to go through lessons, assignments, and tests because I want you to know exactly what I'm looking for as you complete content. So you can choose to do your notes however you want. Okay, this is very open to you. And What I will say is that notes and the lessons is the one place where I think AI is actually really awesome to use. Okay, and I'll explain that in a second. So if you want assistance or help, the notes is definitely the best place to do it. So you might be like, what, Mr. Kushma, really? I will show you how that works. So every single time you go into a new chapter, there will be a notes file, and you can choose if you want to use my template, you can. You totally don't have to use my template. You can be old school and you can work on paper and pen and you can write stuff out. You can take this one, you can print it off and you can write in my template if you want. But lots of people are just like, some people just like having like a notebook. And if you want a notebook, that's awesome. That's great. I love that. There's also a Word doc, Google Doc. So you can download this as a Google Doc or a Word doc if you want to instead. And you can type your notes into that. Okay. So when you are doing your notes, I'm going to scroll down to the end of the chapter where you submit them. So there's a biological notes hand-in box. And I'm going to switch back to student view so you can see what it looks like when you submit it. And when you go to submit it, it will look different. Here we go. It's going to tell you how you're graded. So when you are watching all of these videos, I'm looking to see that you're writing down important information about it. So you might be reading or watching lesson 5 on ATP, and you might write down, oh, ATP is adenosine triphosphate, and it's a molecule that can release its third phosphate to power a ton of different processes in our cells. And then it becomes ADP, adenosine diphosphate. It has lost a phosphate molecule. So that might be something that you put into your notes. Now, I also want you to include visual content. I want you to, and I'll show you what that looks like, but if you're watching lesson 5 on ATP, you might take a screenshot or take a picture or something, or draw something that is the molecule ATP. You want to be able to easily identify it if you were to see the molecule. And lastly, you have to have all the vocab listed and defined. Okay, that's for 3 marks. So every single time you submit your notes, I mark it out of 10. I want to see that you've watched the videos and written down notes. That's 4 marks. I want to see that you've included visual content, and I want to see all of your vocab listed and defined. And I want your vocab listed and defined either at the beginning or end of your notes. So if you're going to take these, either define these all at the beginning or throw them at the very end, at the end of your notes. Those are the 2 ways that I want them. Now, this is probably the best way that AI can be used in my course, if I can copy these. So if you were to take the vocab in the course and you're to go and you're going to use, I don't know, ChatGPT or Gemini, doesn't really matter. There's lots of different ones that you can use. You can say, I'm a student taking anatomy and physiology 12. Can you please help me define the following terms? And then you can list them all, and you can see that this is, in my opinion, a really good use of them. Now, ChatGPT is not like perfect at all in these, but it's a very good starting place. I'm going to take a look really quickly. So it talks about monomers, it talks about polymers. The most common monomer that you're going to learn about is actually the glucose molecule. It doesn't talk about that. It uses amino acids as an example, which is totally fine. But there'll definitely be things that ChatGPT doesn't remember. So if you want to add more to these vocab, that's great. But as a starting place, this is awesome, and that took 3 seconds. Okay, so you could go, you could ask the next set, you could copy and paste those in, you could copy and paste these ones in, and it's already done the vocab for you, and that's worth 3 marks. So it's actually helping you get a good grade. Now, where the problem lies is that you can't use ChatGPT or AI for any other element of the course. So not on the assignments, not on the tests, and not on any of the activities. But hopefully that is a cool tip for you if you want help with doing vocab. All right, so I'm going to go to that ATP video, and I'm going to show you that if I click play, I have it muted, but let's say we're going to get to right here, and Mr. Anderson's got this really great diagram, and I can full screen this, so maybe you can see even better, where it shows the ATP molecule, this cool thing. You got adenosine, you've got 3 phosphate groups, and you've got one popping off to become adenosine diphosphate. This would be a really, really awesome piece of visual content. Okay, so I'm going to exit out of full screen. And if you are taking notes and you're doing them online, I really recommend for PCs to use an app called the Snipping Tool. And if you have a Mac, there's one that's even better called Sketch, or Sketch, one of those. Anyway, what you can do is you can take that piece of visual content, you can copy this right into your notes, and that is the type of visual content I am hoping to see when you are completing the course. Okay, so make sure that every single set of your notes has visual content like this. And if you're doing this by hand, it's going to be hard. I don't think it would be quite as easy. The notes should include a lot of pictures. Every single chapter has tons and tons of visual content to be included, so make sure that you have that. You know, there's going to be proteins, there's going to be water, there's going to be lipids, DNA, acids-base buffers. So visual content, it's going to be on tests, it's going to be in the final exam. That's the reason why I want you to include it in your notes. And then as you're watching, and he's talking to you, he's telling you that it's like a battery, and that it loses its charge when it removes that phosphate molecule. So you could be writing that down as part of just your regular notes in the course. All right, so that is basically an overview of how the notes work and how lessons work. And honestly, it's designed that every single time I want you to get 10 out of 10. I want this to be a buffer to your grade, that every single time you're getting 100%. So there should be a portion of your grade that you're always getting 100% on, and then it's just the rest of the course that you're getting assessed for grades. Which leads me into the assignment. So the assignment is the second thing that you complete in the course after you have finished all of the notes. And this changes, I have it completely laid out differently than notes. And when you go into every single assignment in the course, and even some of the activities, I'm curious what achievement goal you're trying to get. Okay, so the achievement goal is important, and some of you are going to be trying to get an A+. Some of you guys are going to be trying to get a B. If you're going into, pre-med, nursing, I don't know, what else takes this, paramedic, all sorts of different people take anatomy and physiology 12. There's probably a lot of you that are trying to get really high marks. Okay, that's awesome. What I will tell you is that we use the assignment to check that. So in this chapter, or there's 9 questions, okay? And we're looking to see that you get roughly all 9 correct, maybe 8. If you got 8 correct, A+ is fine. But if you get 2 wrong and you get 7 out of 9, we're going to want you to make corrections, which is fine. You can resubmit your assignment as many times as you want. The rest of the course you get 1 submission, but for this you can submit multiple times if you need to make corrections. So let's say you got like question number 5 and question number 6 wrong. We would write here, oh, can you please correct 5 and 6? Everything else was good. And we don't want you to write the test until you're getting an A+ on the assignment first, because the tests are worth a very large portion of your grade. On the flip side, if you're trying to get a B and you complete the chapter and you only made 2 mistakes, you're doing great. And you can totally go on to the test, and you're probably going to get a B on the test, and you're going to be very happy. So making 2 mistakes, trying to get a B, we're going to say good to go. We're going to check this off. Me and my 2 TAs, oh yeah, which by the way, if you go back to the course intro, or maybe it was the course home, let me, viewing as student, how do I go into, oh, you should be able to see on the right hand side here when you log into your course, hopefully you see my 2 TAs. The 2 TAs are Sandy and Olivia, and they help mark the assignments. Anyway, I'm not sure why they're not showing up. Let me switch to, do I have to switch to not being a teacher? I don't know where they are. Anyway, I promise you that there's 2 amazing TAs that help me with marking your assignments. Anyway, we're going to go back to the assignment here. And the other thing that I want to tell you is that when you're completing the assignments, I have it split up into 2 parts. Part 1 says that you can use your notes to help you answer these questions, okay? So sometimes I ask like a bit of a harder question in part 1. I know that there's a couple questions throughout the course that in part 1, it's a very hard question. Then once you've completed part 1, there's part 2, and what I write is, please don't use your notes. So try to actually test your memory and see if you know these, like what makes high or low pH dangerous for our bodies. I don't want you looking that up. See if you can actually test your memory after completing chapter 1 and see if you can answer that for your own. Because when you're doing the tests are completely closed book. But I'm looking down at question number 7, and it says, what is the energy coinage molecule of life? And explains how it stores energy. Well, we were talking about that earlier. That was ATP. Anyway, so once you've completed your assignment, you have to scan it in or submit it, however you've done the assignment, and you submit it into the hand-in box. Only once your assignment has been submitted, then me and my TAs will be able to mark it. So it'll either be me or Olivia or Sandy, and we'll mark it and you'll be good to go. That will unlock the test. Okay, so then the test is done at the very end of the chapter, and like I said, it's hidden. It's only visible if students have completed their assignment. All right, so every single chapter follows that same format: lessons, assignment, and then test. So once you've done chapter 1, you're going to know exactly what the rest of the chapters look like. However, biology is super fun, and biology also has a bunch of activities. So in an activity in the course, they are separate from chapters. You'll be doing a research assignment, you'll be doing an online dissection, and the first thing is a lab where you actually take a fruit like banana or strawberries, and you break it down, and you're going to get DNA from a fruit. It's really cool. So in an activity, I've got some videos that help you get through it, and there's a lab hand-in box. And what I try to do is I give you the template. So for every single activity in the course, I tell you how you're going to be graded. So for this one, there's a bunch of things that I'm looking for. It's a full lab report. So I give you the rubric ahead of time so you know what I'm looking for. And that is the activities. The activities are probably my favorite things to mark because it's just cool to see students do those. There's not a ton of activities, but there are a couple. And yeah, hopefully you enjoy those. All right. So the only other thing is that once you are done this, watching this course intro video, you need to go and do your course intro quiz. And so that will get you to unlock the entire course. And the exciting thing is I will get to meet you in the course at the midpoint meeting. So in the midpoint meeting, after you're halfway through the course, you are going to book a meeting with me on Zoom, and I want to meet with you and try to help you out a little bit. So Number one, I want to make sure that you're getting the grade that you're hoping to get. So if you're trying to get an A+, and maybe you're not there quite yet, I'll definitely give you some pointers. I want to check your understanding of the content and have a fun little critical thinking challenge with you. I'm going to ask you a question. It's a discussion, like we go back and forth and talk about it. But I check your reasoning skills. There's no right or wrong answer, and we just talk about a topic. So it's pretty fun. And then I congratulate you on getting to the halfway point, because that's already a big feat. There's 5 units. And yeah, I'm excited for when you get to the midway point in the course. The midway point in the course kind of is like the halfway. So you've completed 5 units, and there's 5 units left. And then the final exam is at the end, and I wish you all the best there as well. So that is all for this course essential video. Thank you for watching. I really, really, truly, honestly hope that you jump into this course content, that you love it, and that it is also one of your favorite courses, just like it was for me.